Hey guys! I did a bang thing. We're going to turn this down just a little bit. Happy Wednesday. I guess technically this is getting over the hump today, I guess. So we actually have several things that we're going to do today. First, we're going to start with I did a bang thing. I don't regret the thing I did. So I got bangs yesterday and I'm in love with them. And if you guys, obviously, I don't even know why I say if you guys, none of you guys have probably ever seen me with bangs. It's something I used to wear years ago. And when I stopped wearing bangs was when we were going to road trip across Canada in the motorhome. And I didn't want to stress out about the bangs. But the other day, I posted an older video and somebody was like, oh my God, Dora, you look so cute with bangs. I miss your bangs. And it made me realize I also really miss my bangs. So we have bangs again. They are the shortest bangs ever. I do realize this, totally not by accident. Somebody commented on my Facebook and I love her, totally not offended, by the way. And she was like, I love it, but why did your hairdresser cut the bangs so short? And I made her. That's the answer. The answer to that is I made her cut them that short. So here's my bang theory. Dory's big bang theory. I feel this way about bangs. If you cut them the length you want them, in a week they'll be too long, and in 2 weeks they'll drive you crazy. So when I get my bangs cut, I get them cut just a teeny little bit shorter than I want them to be. Next week, they will be exactly the length I want them to be, and by the week after that, they'll be too long, and by week 3, I'll be like, I could probably just cut my own bangs, which I don't recommend. Don't do that. My hairdresser gets really mad when I do that because I do. If they're not short, I'm not happy with the bang. I want like the short, fun, funky, wispy. That's how I do. So we're showing off my new hair today. Woo. It's got a few kinks in it that didn't quite straighten out. Again, another thing you guys probably don't know about me is I sleep with my hair up. I put my hair up when I go to bed. So when I put it down in the morning, sometimes it gets a couple weird little kinky spots in it. So what we're going to do today, we have 2 unboxings to do. I have my Keto for All Canada box for August to open up and show you guys. And my True Local Meats box came in yesterday. So we're going to open that too. But first, before we get into the fun unboxing and stuff, I want to tell you guys about what I did do that I do regret. Because there is something I did that I do regret. It's not the bangs. Oh, well, hello. So we've got up on TikTok as well. And we've got comments rolling in on TikTok. We want some basic beginner keto. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. And I want to tell you guys what I did. So this kind of relates back to food obsession and eating things that we shouldn't. So a couple weeks ago, you guys, if you saw the live, I went to Shoppers Drug Mart and I got myself some really fun sugar-free fruit snacks. And I feel like that's maybe the mom in me. My fiance says it's the child in me. But fruit snacks was one of those things I would always snitch from my kid. So I bought myself a box. And I thought, well, you know, they're not the best sweetener, but it's okay. I've eaten these sweeteners. They don't really bother me. They're starting to. We'll get into that. And I brought them home and I thought, oh, this is a lovely treat for myself. And the first little packet that I had and I ate kind of upset my stomach. Kind of made me a little sick. Did I give away the box? Did I throw away the box? Did I feed them to the children? No. I kept eating them whenever I felt like I would want them with the knowledge in advance, this is going to upset my stomach and this is gonna, probably make me a little bit sick. So what I want to talk with you guys about is that. Why that? Why would I do that? What is wrong with my brain still that I feel like I need to hoard food, even food that makes me sick? So now we're getting to the what I did. So I've been eating on these candies for, a couple of weeks, just a pack every, few days, whatever. And every time I eat them, they make me sick. So on Monday, I realized I had 3 packs left. Now, given the logic of this and the fact that they don't make me feel well, I could have thrown them out. I could have given them away. I could have let the kids eat them. But instead, in my head, I decided to do this. I decided if I eat them all now, then I won't be tempted to eat them later and make myself sick. So I ate all 3 packs. I ate all 3 packs that I had left. And this is why I kind of look like somebody punched me in the face. Like, I did that on Monday night. Yesterday, I certainly looked like somebody punched me in the face. And today, I'm still kind of wearing some of the effects and the swelling and the puffiness. I feel old and I feel tired. And I woke up this morning and I thought, there really was no logic in that. There's only food hoarding in that. Like, I could have given them to someone who doesn't have a reaction to them. I could have given them to someone else in my family. But in my head, I'm thinking, that's my special treat. I bought that for me as a special treat. But it wasn't a special treat, was it? Like, they tasted good. Don't get me wrong, they tasted good. They hit that craving in the moment. But now I feel like garbage and I look like somebody punched my face. And I have a full day of filming to do. So I want to talk to you guys about why, and is that just me? Like, am I the only one who still has this residual of food hoarding and food storing and this idea that if it's my food, I have to eat it? These are behaviors that I was very active in at 290 pounds. And I remember these feelings. I remember this hoarding of the food. I remember the feeling of entitlement to the food, right? Like, even with my leftovers, if I went to a restaurant and I took home leftovers and somebody else ate my leftovers, I would lose my noodle. That was my food. So I think that we need to revisit our attachments with food and talk about that a bit more regularly on my channel because, hello, I still do it, clearly. If I'm going to eat something that I know will make me sick just so nobody else can eat it, that's a problem. Like, that's a problem, and there's something wrong there. So I need to look at that, and if it's not just me, raise your hand and we can take a look at some of those behaviors and issues together. Because this isn't probably the first time I've eaten something that I shouldn't, or I knew was going to make me sick, or I knew was going to bother me. And in my head, I made some rationalization why it was okay to eat it anyways. So we're going to delve into that a little bit when I get back from Toronto. And I feel like it's something that's worth talking about. So we're going to talk about that. Now, on TikTok, we have questions about beginner's keto. So let's go there. Let's cover some of the basics of keto. Because I think a lot of people feel like it's really hard, it's really stressful. There's a lot of numbers and calculation and all of this information that you need to have. So let's break it right down to basics. When you are eating a ketogenic diet, your body is fueled with fat instead of carbs. So when you switch over, you're going to feel a little different way. Number one, and everybody encounters that a little bit differently. If you switch your foods too fast, you might end up with a little bit of the keto flu, and that'll make you feel a little icky and gross. A lot of people will stop right there and say, this diet makes me feel sick, I'm going to stop doing that. But I'm going to tell you guys my favorite way to look at this. When you go to your vet and you need to switch your dog's food or your cat's food, do they just say go home and feed them new food? Or do they have you slowly incorporate the new food and slowly take away the old food? For me, this is what I did, and this is how I didn't get the keto flu. So I always recommend people, step one, slowly cut your sugar and carbs, start adding good vegetables, adding good fats, and you will ease from one diet to the other and you won't feel sick and ooky. So the very bare basics. Keto is a high fat, moderate protein, low carb. So what that means to you is that you want to be adding good fats to your food. So number one, avoid all vegetable oils. They're not vegetables, they're barely oils. They're not good. So when we say good fats, we mean butter, ghee, coconut oil, tallow, rendered fats, all of your good, healthy based fats, olive oil, avocado oil. They all kind of range on the scale from good, better, best. But as long as you're avoiding vegetable oil, winning. So the next basics is you want to look at having a moderate amount of protein. This is probably not any more protein than you normally ate in your regular standard American diet. It's a portion of 4 to 6 ounces for a lady, 6 to 8 ounces for a gentleman, depending on how much you eat as a general rule. For me, a serving of meat is closer to 2 or 3 ounces. So it depends on what you eat. But chances are in your everyday eating, your meat is going to stay the same. Your vegetables are going to change a bit. You're going to get your better, higher green vegetables and less of your root vegetables. So swap out cauliflower for potatoes, swap out zucchini for noodles, swap out spaghetti squash for pastas, and just slowly start swapping out the things you would normally eat with a better option. And at my house, that's what I did. When I decided what we were having for dinner, I still made for my house the standard meal that I would make, which is a meat, a pasta, or a carb, and a vegetable. And then what I started doing was making another vegetable option or two, and then I slowly just started making less of the carb side. I don't even make it for my house all of the time. The rest of my house is not keto. But you know what? Once in a blue moon, they'll get a potato or a rice or a pasta, and I just won't eat that. So easy peasy at my house. I didn't have to switch my entire household diet. I didn't have to cook 2 separate meals. It was just a matter of not eating the side. And in the beginning, that might be really hard when you're making dinner for everybody and you want the mashed potato or you want the French fry. But very quickly, your taste buds will change and you really won't crave those things as much anymore. And when you do and you try to eat them, they don't taste as good as you remember them tasting. So for me, it was really, I don't want to say easy to transition because I spent a lot of time crying over the things I thought I would never eat before I realized I could make them. So let's see what other questions we have on TikTok because we got a couple on here. So I'm going to scroll. I'm just going to bring them up here with me. It's easier. It's easier to see. Okay, so basics, things that we do not eat. So we don't eat potatoes, rice, pasta, quinoa, all of those higher carb things. There are some things that are kind of debatable. I don't eat hummus or most lentils, but I do eat lupin flour. So there are kind of some exceptions to every rule. When you're starting, some of the good basic rules are when it comes to vegetables, above ground good, below ground not as good with some exceptions. Radish, my favorite. Radish will save your life. Little red ones look like baby red roasted potatoes when you cook them. You can make chips out of them. I use them for my au gratins instead of potatoes. So there are some really easy switches. Now, if you're interested in starting a keto diet and you haven't yet, these are the first things you need to do. First, I want you to go to Ruled Me Macros Calculator. And the way I always find that is I Google, how much should I eat a day on keto? And they're the first calculator that comes up. It's going to ask you a few things. It's going to ask you your weight, your height, your activity, your BMI, your weight loss goals, and it's going to give you a general idea of what you should be eating to follow. As you get more used to keto, you can adjust these things when you see what works for you and what doesn't. But it's going to give you a basic guideline of calories and amount of fat and carbs and all of the things that you should be eating in a day. Then you want to download a tracker of some sort. When I was originally looking for a tracker, I didn't know what I was looking for. I Googled trackers and I picked Stupid Simple Keto because I like stupid, simple things and I wanted to track keto. So I picked that one. And then you just start entering in your foods that you eat each day. Now, you don't have to track. You don't have to. You can eat good keto foods and go along your merry way if you don't have any weight loss goals. But if you're 2 weeks in and you message me and say, hey, Dory, I'm not losing any weight, what's going on? The first thing I'm going to ask you is, what are you eating? What are you eating every day? And nobody can help you figure out what you're eating that you shouldn't if they don't know what you are eating. So tracking is kind of one of those, do it if you want to, don't if you don't want to, but if you want someone to help you with results, you need to track at least long enough to figure out what you're eating. A lot of times things have carbs and sugar in them that we don't realize, and you end up with eating a lot more than you originally intended. For me, I tracked to get an idea of amount. Because I had a bariatric surgery, when I was looking into keto 3 years ago, everybody just flat out said it's not for you. You can't eat enough food. You can't consume enough food in a day. If you can't eat 12 to 1400 calories a day, this diet isn't for you. If you don't eat all the food, if you don't hit all the numbers, if you don't make all your macros, you're not going to lose weight. And I was discouraged, but I thought that doesn't make any sense to me. I had my weight loss surgery at that point 6 years previous, and I had already been eating this small amount of food for 6 years. So I know how much food I eat, and I know I physically can't eat that much more. I eat 9 to 950 calories a day comfortably. I don't limit, I'm not restricting. This is not calorie restriction. It's how much I can physically comfortably eat. So with that number in mind, I started reverse tracking my food. So what I did was I ate clean keto foods. I kept in mind my amounts that I should be eating of fat and protein and carbs. And I just started eating what I wanted when I was hungry until I was full. And I tracked that. At the end of 2 months, I looked at those numbers and I figured out what macros worked better for me. Now, for me, because of my surgery, I eat a slightly lower level of protein and more fat. And that's due to the quantity of food that I'm able to eat. You get more nutrient and more calorie from fat than you do from protein, and it's easier for my body to digest. So after 2 months of tracking, I was able to play with my own numbers and figure out what worked best for me. And that's the beauty of keto. Once you get the basics down, you can really fine tune what you're eating and how it works for you. So if you notice that, you know what, you don't process protein quite as well and it sits heavy in your stomach or it bothers you, you can slightly lower your protein number and see how that works for you. Have a little bit more vegetable, have a little bit more fat, and kind of play with your numbers and see what works for you. Each individual is going to find their own magic number. For me, it's 80% fat, 14% protein, 6% carb. And when I say 6%, people are like, oh, no, keto's only 5% carb. No, 5. But here's the thing. My 6% of what I eat works out to 12 or 13 grams of carbs a day, total carbs, which keto is 20 grams of carbs a day. But because I eat less, the percentage sounds more. So keep in mind that what works for you won't work for somebody else, and they can't really tell you it's not going to work for you. You get to decide what works for you. And that's my favorite thing about keto. Hello, Kitty Emerald. It's nice to see you. And we are going to pop out now. We're going to come back and I'm going to do a live. We're going to unbox our Keto for All Canada box for October. Now, we're not going to eat the products today because I'm going to bring this with me to Toronto to put on display. And then we're going to open up the meat box. So stay tuned. Come back shortly and we're going to have some unboxing fun. And when I get back from Toronto, we're going to talk more about the face stuff and the eating the stuff that we shouldn't. And for today, you're just going to forgive me for looking like somebody punched me in the face. Like, I can't do anything about that. I look how I look. This is my face today. I love you. Love me back. Very good. Our song to dance back out to. And I will see you guys so soon. It's going to be such a fun day. And this week is blowing up. See you guys soon.